Garnet,
Did you hear that?
Nope. No inside info, no contacts, no problem. Members only. Live. Vince is still having technical difficulties weeks after the fact.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. We usually have that little interlude music there to do the static card, and for some reason, it's just not playing. I mean, I hear it.
You got to upload it to StreamYard, Vince.
I guess so.
That's what needs to happen, sir.
I guess so. I guess I can get around to doing that at some point.
Need a lot of work.
You know what else needs a lot of work? Your razor.
No, this is intentional. I am
the playoff beard.
Yeah, I'm going to be growing, giving it a month of no shave. See what happens.
No shave September. Yeah, I see that. And then, as it were, we normally are doing a members only show every other week, and so I'm on here waiting to come on, and Ryan's nowhere to be found. Ryan picked the wrong date, but that's okay. We're going to get a bonus member show then.
I don't like to think of it as a wrong date so much as another date.
It's just a different date.
No, see, Vince, this is exactly what happens when I schedule the entire week's show and I feel like I'm extra prepared.
Yep.
Because generally I schedule these the same day, and that kind of gets me in like, okay, what do we got? Yeah, what do we got today?
Yeah.
I was super prepared and said I'm going to do them all on Sunday and schedule everything out, which is helpful.
It is.
Right, because one less thing for both of us to have to worry about during the week.
It is helpful to have them pre-scheduled, and people can, like them and notify and all those things you should do. You should like and you should notify, you should share them out. But you're right. Then you're kind of like, you kind of forget what you did, and then you're kind of in this mode of this week. But really, this is supposed to be next week, but that's okay.
It is fine. And listen, we're going to talk about solving right now, not for the future, but solving for now. We're going to talk about right now and what we can do going into the Memphis game to make an immediate impact. Because some things, listen, some things aren't going to happen. Some things can happen now.
Like the overlay.
Yes. And also your lightsabers in your background that you've added.
Yeah.
Your environment gets better and better, and mine stays static.
I just, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to go all out. And I found some really great deals on some Govee lights.
Yeah.
These are the glides.
Yeah. Can you send me the link for those after the show?
I will. And they are $25 off right now. So you get the two of them.
Yeah.
For roughly $50.
Is it 3M on the back of it?
It's 3M on the back of, but they're Velcro 3M. So if you wanted to take them down and reposition them, it's a little easier because it's Velcro through 3M, not direct to the wall.
Perfect. Since we started late on the members only show before our Garnet show in 20 minutes, we're gonna hit the fast forward button here and say, okay, immediately what comes to mind, Vince. You know me. You know what I said last week.
Mm-hmm.
Quarterback change. Now, the depth chart came out, and there's, DJ sits at the top of the depth chart. Vince, not that I'm not asking you for a prediction yet, but does that necessarily mean DJ will start this week?
Yes.
So you believe that no matter what that depth chart says is at least first drive wise what we're going to see.
As far as, who's going to walk out there and lead the first drive, absolutely, it's going to be him. And I think you were on the other side of that. The reason why I was not on that side was because there are many other problems, and it ain't just DJ. And whoa.
Did you hear that?
I did hear that. What's going on?
That's a thunderstorm.
Okay, yeah, it's been raining for pretty much 85,000 days in a
Yeah, I
row here
heard.
in Jacksonville.
I have friends still in Jacksonville, um, and I talked to one of them today, and they said it's been raining probably for a month straight.
Yeah, it's been crazy. Luckily, my house is not in any kind of flood zone, but a lot of people are.
Yeah, that's what we got
Um,
going on here in Tampa.
yeah, you guys are having some issues too.
Yeah.
Is that Francine?
Though bands, I think,
Yeah,
pretty far. Shout out to our New Orleans listeners. But Vince, back to the football. I agree with you that now that the depth chart is out, that DJ will be out there for the first drive. But I do believe his leash is officially on leash watch during the game.
yeah. I
Meaning
don't have any. Yeah,
drives that don't look good, and I think he's gone out of the game.
I don't doubt that at all. And I was of the opinion of that last week too. Is that I don't think anything short of a Morlock drop fest.
Yep.
If we have issues on Saturday and they are predominantly due to the quarterback position, there's no reason to keep playing him.
Yeah.
You got to make that change because I mean the season. I don't want to say the season is lost because you could right the ship and win the majority of the rest of the games on your
Sure.
schedule. It wouldn't be what we expected, but it would be a turnaround. So you screw up and lose this game, and then you might as well go full youth and just see what you have.
Absolutely, absolutely. Vince, I think this comes down to Mike Norvell saying, "Listen, what I've seen in practice from DJ does not equate to what has happened in the game. There could be a lot of factors." He said so himself that, hey, yes, he's had some bad moments, but so have the receivers with a lot of drops. We know we're going to get Hakeem Williams back for sure this week. He's practiced all week, full speed. And Mike Norvell commented on it in post game. That he's excited to see him this weekend.
Yeah.
I think Mike wants to see what it looks like when he has Hakeem out there. When you kind of have a home game that now, listen, if the pressure was ever off Florida State as a team, it's now. The pressure was at maximum last game because you lose to Georgia Tech and you're still saying, okay, well, we can still easily make it to the playoff. And well, all that's kind of right for now set aside. So just go play. And I think that's been the message this week. And I think if by 2 drives in, DJ is still the reason for the lack of movement, I think you're going to see a replacement. Now, I hope, and I know we're both positive people in life, Vince. I hope for the kid that he goes out there and plays really well because that's good for Florida State. And we know that DJ, oddly enough, when he starts playing well, tends to play well the whole game.
Yeah.
It's that's why we talked about it last week, Vince. It's got to be mostly mental for him, right?
It's got to be mostly mental. It is, but it's also has a lot to do with the fact that there's been really no other bright spot on the team doing their job other than the kicking game.
Yeah.
So it's not been you can't pin the dam has a lot of holes in it right now. And they all have to be shored up in some form or fashion. Some of it with the offensive line is injury related. I think some of it when the defensive line, defensive line is effort related, and then from a linebacker standpoint, I think it's talent related.
Yeah.
But you can't look at this team and feel good about anything except for the kicking game.
I think one other thing, let's add to another list of things you can fix going into this week. We've heard time and time and time and time again, deep throw in the middle of the practice fields, hooking up with big time receivers making plays down the field. Well, you can call them as a shot play without the option to not be a shot play. You shouldn't do it all the time. But I would like to see a few deep, something not on the sidelines, because it seems like DJ struggles with that. Just a straight up, hey, let's run something right in the center of the field, up the gut, deep, and see what we got with maybe a Hakeem or someone who's got the ability to catch.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one thing you can fix going into this week, in addition to having a big body receiver like Hakeem that if it's 50-50 ball can go up and make that play.
Somebody's got to. The only receiver that's had any kind of highlight at all would be Kentron.
Sure.
Had
a good highlight in the last game, actually.
Oh, it was a great highlight, and I felt good for him, because how many years have we been, wanting him to take, another step, and he's been on the team, it seems like, forever.
Yeah.
But I don't know, the receiving core doesn't really scare anybody. And adding Hakeem back to the mix, you might, and again, he's knocking off a little rust and everything, and he's not overly experienced anyway. So I don't know if we can expect, a night and day difference.
Right.
But I do expect a little bit more respect to be paid, when whoever's lining up, opposite of him.
Sure. One other thing, Vince, I expect to see not fix but tweak a little bit is I would like to see a little bit more movement of other players on the offense. What I mean by that is pre-snap for setting up run plays, a la Florida State 3-4 years ago. They did a whole lot of eye candy back then. We talked about in last week's show. Hey, wide receiver in motion, goes one way, tosses the other. Get our running backs in open field, not just pushing into the middle, because we're not there where we're ready to do that. But what you can do, Vince, are two things. Toss plays, sweeps with wide receivers, and quick little screen tosses out to the perimeter, which Hakeem can block for. So I expect some quick, whether it be toss, screens, or jet sweeps this week. That's what I think is something that you can get your players, your offense built for playmakers, out in space.
Man, that's yes. All I can say about that is yes. But the people around them have to be doing their jobs too. Yep. So you can, when you're saying get someone in space, you hear that a lot. I don't want to say that's a cop out from a coaching perspective, but in a way, a little bit it is, because what you're basically saying is, I'm going to scheme this where it couldn't possibly go wrong.
Yeah.
Right? Because right now we got a lot going wrong. It's like, you don't have to scheme when everybody's doing their job.
Yeah.
Because the play should, more often than not, net in some kind of positive result. But having to get someone in space, yes, you're getting them to a point where they allow their talent to take over, and you're a one-on-one deal. But again, that's, I don't want to be the negative guy here, but the more of that you have to do, the more that speaks to the fact that you can't run your bread and butter stuff.
I think you have to do that until you can run your bread and butter stuff.
Yeah.
Now, you don't do it all the time, the whole game. We're not doing Willie Taggart screen game against Virginia Tech. But with Hakeem back, he is the best by far wide receiver on the blocking side of things. And throw Keziah out there on a halfback screen and let Hakeem block someone into the stands. You're allowed to rough people up sometimes. So I think the last thing, Vince, I think we can do to fix something this week is tell your defense, guys, I don't care if you make a mistake. Make it as hard and as painful as you possibly can. Hit someone be aggressive, trigger downhill. We'll live with an occasional getting beat over the top. We'll live with an occasional roughing the passer. Let's hit someone. I mean, we're allowed. You're allowed to hit people.
You are allowed to hit people, and you're allowed to engage people and continually engage people. It's been frustrating, and I don't know. I know some of it has to do with the injuries. I know that. But there haven't been, you would expect to have a little bit of bright spot every now and then, but there hasn't really been too much bright spot.
Right. One thing, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
One thing I was going to say that, I was going to come ready. We're going to talk more about in the Garnet Old Show in a few minutes. That, hey, could get fixed this week, did get fixed, which is we're going to hear the Marching Chiefs, Vince. And I know Mike Norvell's comment about, I want to hear the Marching Chiefs every second of every game, let them play. It had to have warmed your heart knowing you.
Yeah. I'm happy. Obviously, I'm waiting on some word on some additional clarity on what's going to happen on Saturday. We had mentioned last week that there were some meetings that were had, and Coach Norvell acknowledged my information, which I thought was very nice of him. Mm-hmm. But also, there's been other things happening this week, and I hope to be able. I can't talk about it yet until I have the complete and utter. Yes, you can relay this information. So hopefully, maybe before Garnet and Old normal show is over, I'll be able to get that confirmation. But suffice it to say that Saturday is going to sound a lot different than it did last week.
Yeah, one announcement was made today, which is, and I'm excited about this, Vince. I think I'm going to bring my AirPods to the next game. In game, like the broadcast team, commentary, the same one you hear on the radio, will be zero lag delivered in game in studio via the FSU game day app. That means that you'll be able to, if you're a nut who likes to know, like, what player is that? I can't really tell. You'll be able to hear, oh, wow, what a play by Hakeem Williams on that play from across the field. And it's good for people like us because we're trying to pick out, things to report on after the game. So I might, maybe not every time, but I might on certain games have my headphones in.
Yeah. That is going to be it's been a long time since I've listened to the play-by-play. Like back in the old days, I was one of the guys that had the Walkman with the headphones, and I would listen to Gino call the game.
It helps too, but there was a delay.
There was a delay, but it was awesome. And I've not really done that in many, many years. So I may just give it a try just to see if I enjoy it.
I mean, imagine having a zero delay where they're like, hand off to, and you can't always see the player's jersey number or whatever. It would be very helpful to know that kind of information.
Yeah, it would. The thing of it is, though, I love the crowd too, so I may have to have one earbud
headphone.
in.
That's what it is. Yeah.
So
the new AirPods, by the way, Vince, because I don't like the nubbed tips.
Yeah,
the foam on them. The new ones that just got announced, no nub tips, still some noise cancellation, and $129.
Yeah, I broke the bank here, so it's going to be a little while.
Well, Vince, thank you for hopping on my not so on time or correctly scheduled show, but you're watching the show because you're a member, because you're a YouTube member out there. So thank you for supporting the Garnet Old Show. Tell everyone about being a member and that you get these sometimes extra shows. We do one every other week, but apparently we got them 2 weeks in a row now. So who knows? Maybe we'll do this every week. I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe we'll continue on the good streak. It's not hard for us to get here 30 minutes early. It's really not. But guys, we got to go do the Garnet Old Show, 7 o'clock. And if you're watching this later on and you didn't see the Garnet Old Show that we're about to do, go back and watch it. Well, Back to the Future action.
For sure. And I don't think I've got screwed up on that audio still, Ryan. So I'll have to do something else for the
Upload.
static card.
Do you have the audio file?
If I can find it and get it up there in time, I will.
Boom, because then we never have to worry.
Right. So I'm gonna try to do that. So we'll see.
Nice. Well, everyone, thank you for being a Garnet Knoll YouTube member. We will see you on the Garnet Knoll Show. No inside info, no contacts, no problem. And go Knowles. Vince,
See you in a few.
Send the Chiefs all the damn time, man.
Yeah, play on.
Play on. Have a good one. We'll see you in a bit.